The station alarms screamed their final warning as Parker Matthews sprinted down Corridor 7 Alpha, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Around him, Research Station Kepler 442 was tearing itself apart. The experimental quantum reactor had gone critical, and everyone knew what that meant. They had maybe 10 minutes before the entire facility became an expanding cloud of superheated debris. "Move! Move!" someone screamed behind him. Parker's boots pounded against the metal deck plates as he rounded the corner to Bay 3, where the last evacuation pod waited. His heart sank as he saw the crowd, at least 40 people, fighting to squeeze through a doorway designed for 12. And then he saw her. The alien girl stood pressed against the bulkhead, her violet skin pale with terror, her forearms clutched protectively around her torso. She was young, maybe the equivalent of 16 in human years, a Zelenari exchange student who'd been studying human engineering. Her name was Zixsara, Parker remembered from the station manifest. Humans only. Someone shouted, "We don't have room for Xenos." The crowd surged forward and Zixsara stumbled backward, her large eyes wide with fear and acceptance. She wasn't fighting. She wasn't arguing. She was just accepting her fate. Parker's gut twisted. The pod's automated voice echoed through the bay. Final boarding. 11 seats remaining. Depressurization, and for minutes, 11 seats. 40 people. Parker shouldered his way through the crowd, ignoring the curses and shoves. He grabbed Zixsara's upper arm, the upper left one, and pulled her toward the pod. What are you doing?" she whispered in her clicking, melodic accent. "Getting you out of here," Parker said. "But there's no room." "There will be." They reached the pod's entrance. The station's emergency AI was already processing the last passengers, scanning retinas and checking manifests. Parker pushed Zixsara forward. "Seat assignment, number 7, the AI announced. Zixsara's eyes widened as she realized what Parker had done. He'd given her his seat, his name on the manifest, his biometrics overridden with a simple command authorization that would cost him his life. "No," she said, her voice breaking. "Parker Matthews, no. You can't." "I can, and I did," Parker said, already backing away. Tell them humanity isn't what they think. Tell them we're better than our worst moments, Parker." But security was already pulling her into the pod. The doors began to seal through the closing gap. Zixsara's hands pressed against the transparent aluminum viewport, her eyes locked on Parker's. He smiled, actually smiled, and gave her a small salute. "Live well, kid." The pod launched 3 seconds later. Parker turned away from the empty bay and walked calmly toward the station's observation deck. If he was going to die, he'd at least watch the stars one last time. 8 years later, Nancy Rodriguez, now captain of the research vessel Endeavor, stood on the bridge reviewing the latest survey data when her communications officer suddenly sat bolt upright. "Captain, we're being hailed. Ship designation. I've never seen anything like it. The power signature is off the charts." "On screen," Nancy ordered. The view screen shimmered, and Nancy's breath caught. The ship was massive, easily 5 times the size of Endeavor, and its hull gleamed with technology that made human engineering look like stone knives and burskins. But it was the face on the screen that made Nancy's heart skip. Violet skin, forearms, large, intelligent eyes that held a weight of sorrow and determination. "I am Ambassador Zixsara of the Zelenari Collective," the alien woman said, her English perfect now, touched with only the slightest melodic accent. "I seek an audience with the government of Earth. I have traveled very far and waited very long for this moment." The diplomatic reception on Earth was awkward, as first contacts always were. But Zixsara had specifically requested something unusual: access to all records of Research Station Kepler 442 and its final moments. Nancy, as the ranking officer who'd escorted the alien delegation, watched as Zixsara reviewed the old footage. The ambassador's hands trembled as she watched the recording of the evacuation, watched a young human man give up his life for a scared alien girl he barely knew. "Your people told me it was an anomaly," Zixsara said quietly. "They said Parker Matthews was exceptional, not representative. They said humanity was selfish, violent, and barbaric." She turned to face Nancy and the assembled human diplomats. "But I didn't believe them. I couldn't, because if one human could be that good, then humanity itself had that potential, she gestured. And holographic displays filled the room. Star charts, trade routes, defensive pacts. I spent 8 years rising through our diplomatic corps. 8 years convincing my people that humanity deserved a chance. 8 years building bridges. Zixsara's expression softened. Parker Matthews gave me more than a seat on an escape pod. He gave me hope, and I have come to repay that gift. She extended all four hands in the traditional Zelenari gesture of alliance. The collective wishes to extend full membership to humanity. Trade rights, defensive pacts, technology exchange, and cultural cooperation. We offer you the stars, Captain Rodriguez, because 8 years ago, one of you thought an alien girl's life was worth saving. Even at the cost of his own, Nancy felt tears prick her eyes. Around the room, the other diplomats stood in stunned silence. There's something you should know, Nancy said quietly. Parker Matthews, he had a sister. She survived the evacuation. She's been searching for any record of what happened to her brother. Zixsara's eyes widened. She lives where? Nancy smiled. She's actually here. On Earth, she's a xenoanthropologist, now studies alien cultures. I think she'd very much like to meet you later that evening. In a quiet garden overlooking the Pacific, Zixsara met Sarah Matthews, Parker's younger sister. They didn't speak at first. They didn't need to. Sarah simply took the alien woman's upper right hand in both of hers and whispered, "Thank you for remembering him." "How could I forget?" Zixsara replied, her voice thick with emotion. "He taught me what humanity truly means. Not the violence or the chaos, but the choice to be better. The choice to save someone who isn't like you, simply because it's right." Sarah looked up at the stars, beginning to emerge in the darkening sky. "He'd be proud of what you've done," she said. "He always believed the best in people. All people." Zixsara nodded, following Sarah's gaze to the heavens. Somewhere up there, Parker Matthews' name was already being etched into monuments across a dozen Zelenari worlds. The human who proved that heroes weren't defined by species, but by choice. And humanity, thanks to one man's sacrifice and one alien's gratitude, had just taken its first real step toward the stars, the end.